Today we are renovating this ugly lot that comes in Oasis Springs in the base game. Most of us move into Willow Creek, I feel like, when we start off in a new game, but I want to try and make Oasis Springs feel a lot more fun and exciting to move into. So I'm going to be keeping this one a base game starter home. I say base game, I usually use stuff from a couple of packs. I try to use only packs which I know a lot of people own, or older packs, and I only use minimal items. So there are already so many problems with this build, and I'm not gonna completely bulldoze it. I want to keep it roughly the same. So the first problem that can be easily fixed is to use maybe some kind of metal sheet roof, which you'd probably find in a neighborhood like this. In terms of the indoors, as we can see, it's incredibly sad. What is, honestly, in all of EA's base game starter homes, there's no doors into the bedrooms, and for whatever reason, I just don't understand it. Where are the doors? Where's the window for this bathroom? I don't know. One thing I do feel like is realistic is bulldozing and changing existing in-game walls. So I'm honestly just gonna get rid of this whole bathroom. It's not a vibe at all. In terms of the outside where I want to start, firstly, I actually want to place a platform here because I want to raise it up. I mean, I'm saying this is a realistic renovation. Like, it's not that deep if we add a platform, okay? It's not that deep. I'm also thinking we add a wall here and we drag this roof across, and then we can make this a pillar that goes into the house. I don't know how you feel about that. It just modernizes it a little bit. Alternatively, we could always just use a normal column instead, although I like the idea of using the wall. I think it would be nice to use a brick swatch like this one here. Maybe we could make the whole roof like a brick. If you want to add a trim, by the way, on top of the roof, all you need to do is add a flat square and bring it all the way across the entire roof. And then once you've covered the entire roof in the black squares, it allows you to add an exterior trim onto it. So it adds like a separation barrier if you're doing the roof in a different color. So we could use a gray like this, and I think it suits it. Try to change the ceiling color to fully gray, but because ceilings in The Sims 4 are very glitchy, it's only half gray. At least I can say I tried. Okay, it's not my fault. EA just I've got rid of the whole thing now. Who knows what's happened there? As we all know, EA is not very good at making their own games, are they? So we just have to ignore that. But we can use the free base game concrete as like a flooring because it's literally free. And then for the stilts, I want to use this stony one because I feel like it matches almost with the pillar anyway. And then maybe just a grey one for the rest of it. Although no, we'll do grey all the way around actually. I really like this already. Just small changes make a big difference. Not sure what this floating column is doing here. We'll get rid of that one. Also, I genuinely don't know if we really need a door going to the back of the house because what's behind here? Nothing really. You can just go from the front and then go around the side down into this fishing spot here. So to make more room in the house, we get rid of the back door, and we may as well get rid of that extra section of roof as well because we don't really need that bit anymore. Though we maybe we can put it back later in the future. We'll see. Obviously, I feel like the windows here are very strange, and I just want to change all the windows up because I think it's very dark, and we need to do the floor plan. My gosh, there's so much we need to do. So I actually prefer the idea of this left side being the main living room, and then if we section off an area perhaps like this, make this one tile longer like this, and I think it would be nice to actually separate off a bathroom and a bedroom. Though I'm thinking maybe for the kitchen we can leave it an open space, though this is a very small place to put a kitchen. Maybe we can actually extend this roof out a bit even further. That way we have a little bit more room to work with. I like the idea though of keeping it just a little bit cramped as it is a starter home. Also, maybe we could make the walls just a little bit thinner just on this side here, just to make sure we're not spending too much money on the actual build itself. There we go. Now, to be fair, we could probably have a doorway going into the kitchen so it's more separated. It's honestly like already starting to feel so much nicer, and I don't feel like we've done that much. Guys, my new thing with kitchens is you've got to do everything in a triangle. The fridge, the oven, and the sink. All three of these things have got to be in a kind of, it doesn't have to be a perfect symmetrical triangle, but a rough triangle between them all, because that's apparently what a real life kitchen would be like, or the optimal kitchen design. So that's what we're trying to go for. for here. Although I know with base game houses, in base game houses using way too many kitchen cabinets can like wreak havoc and just end up costing so much money. So I may end up having to delete them all, but hopefully we won't, because I would rather keep them in. I guess you can't be fussy though, and it's a base game build and you have to stick within a budget. And oh gosh, I forgot about windows. Oopsie daisy. We should probably go and sort that out. So I like the idea of making this build maybe a little bit more open in terms of windows. So having a much bigger window so your Sims can actually see outside properly. Although instead of this big black window here, it's actually cheaper to use 3 of these instead for some reason. So we may as well do it that way. I kind of like the idea of having the windows look through the window back here because you can see all of the space outside of the house. You get a nice view of a dinosaur and a little bit of capitalism, American capitalism. So trying to be budget conscious now, I just want to get as much furniture in as we can in terms of all of the basics. I'm throwing in my get together closet, my favorite closet, a space that I know all too well. Also, I haven't actually turned the move objects on cheat on yet, which as far as I'm aware, like in an official EA build, you're not allowed to use a move objects cheat. So in that sense, it's a little bit more realistic. Honestly, I like the idea of using counters in a bathroom. It's just, I know that your Sims are going to be washing their dishes in there, and I don't know if it's really appropriate. So we'll just keep it to a regular bathroom. I mean, this bathroom is quite big, but I guess like the whole fun of having a starter home is that you can renovate it and update it as you go along. So even though it's big, you can definitely add more decorations in as you go along. So we're coming up very close to the 20k starter budget. It's making me very nervous. I really wanted to be able to afford to decorate this place nicely, but I just don't know if it's going to be possible. Seems like we may be a bit strapped. I mean, we've got all the essentials in, so Sims can technically survive here, so that's always good. Also, I seem to be making everything in a harsh black, which is something that I never ever do, so we might end up changing it at some point. So now we've got all of the fundamentals in. I guess we got to move on to actually decorating it now, starting with the flooring, of course. I'm not too sure which colors would work well with a lot of black heavy furniture. We used a beige that at least lightens the space up a bit, and then maybe we could change the flooring swatches in the other rooms, so that's great. Also, in terms of the outside, I really don't like how this section here is in a completely different swatch to the other bit, but then this random wall here is still plank. So I'm actually just going to change this specific wall to this other swatch here. In fact, do we completely change the color set of this? That's realistic because it's like you've just washed it or like you've just painted over it. So we could always change the colors slightly. Could make this lighter and make the whole thing lighter. That's something new and interesting. I really like that actually. Now, after I said I was going to do all the windows, I forgot to do all the windows. So we may as well add a couple more in. The bathroom would just have a small one. I like the idea of having these smaller ones in addition to the bigger ones so we can let more light in, but it's not too overbearing and there's not too much stuff there. I mean, this kitchen's very dark, although in real life, guys, I don't know if this is a British thing, but like a lot of British kitchens are really dark for some reason. We don't have many windows in our kitchens. And then we could even add a couple of those here, just like this. We're at 16,588 simoleons. So I feel like we're actually doing okay with the budget this time, seeing we've got all the basics in. All we need to do now is just decorate the entire build. And I still haven't used the move objects on cheat. This is incredible. One thing I do think you need in every single starter home, even if you don't put a desk in, you need to at least make space for a desk. So I guess we could have a desk go in the corner here. It's a little bit cramped, but I guess it works as a space. Unless we get rid of this big sofa, have a smaller sofa here to give it more starter home vibes. And then we could add a chair like this here. There we go. We have enough room for a desk, a hypothetical desk that we may delete in a moment. And then we need a bookshelf. I used to love this bookshelf when I like first ever played The Sims 4, and I'm so embarrassed by it now because it looks awful. You know, I like the idea of a much bigger one like this, although that's 460 simoleons, way too much. No, this base game one, I quite like it. I use it a lot. I think it will do. What we'll not do is this door actually that goes into the house. No, it won't. That looks horrendous. 355 simoleons as well. That's too much. You can go. So this store saves us about 30 simoleons, but better than nothing. Also, I'm trying to avoid using like maybe a little bit too too much black. I feel like we've got to add some color in somewhere. Actually, wouldn't it be cool to make the appliances green? Maybe not the sink, but some of the, like that really pops. I think it looks nice personally. You may disagree. I think maybe the table and chairs can be toned down a little bit too. Also, we've got to do the outside. When it comes to the outside, I like to look at the outside world first. So we've got a fishing spot here, which Sims can use outside of the house. Over here, it seems like we've got a barbecue area. And so, why have we got planter boxes in this world? Another fishing area here. So it seems like your Sims could do fishing and barbecues. So it's good to know these things so we can know exactly what stuff we need and what stuff we don't. I don't know if I want to make a seating area outside here. I'm not sure if it would work. I mean, at least we don't need plants because of the world that we're living in. I just like the idea of maybe having just some kind of outdoor seating out here. I really don't like this base game awning because like it doesn't stop the sun. Like it literally defeats the point. How do we feel about a DIY awning? What if we like raise up a rug? You guys think I'm joking. What if we raise up a rug? Oh no, it's like see-through at the bottom. That's really weird. I've never seen anything like that before. I don't think I've ever raised up a rug. Okay, we can't do that. I did say I'll try and not use move objects on as well. Okay, we're not, guys, we're not having the outside. We're not doing it. I'm sorry. I mean, to be fair, as I said, like there's literally a bench right next to the bloody house. There's a lot of stuff in the outside world. I genuinely don't feel like we just need a whole outside area. I'll get rid of this concrete as well. And instead we can use some terrain paint. Maybe we could add some flooring that goes around the edge of the build. So technically you can go around the back if you wanted to do so. And okay, I feel like this is actually a better idea because if we do it this way, okay, we could bring back that roof that I got rid of before and then use this as like a covering, and then technically that's free. It doesn't add to the cost of the build. And oh guys, do you know what? I forgot stairs. Of all things, I forgot stairs. Yes, I did. Oopsie daisy. So there we go. We've got a little bit more structure now. We can add this brick column here, which is cool. Ideally, I would like to actually line all of this with a fence, although is that going to cost us way too much money? It is costing us a lot of money. Now we're close to the top of the 20k budget and we still haven't even decorated the inside. We'll see. We can leave it for now. I still haven't even properly addressed the lighting situation in here, although because it's technically like a modern build, I guess we can get away with just using the modern ceiling lights everywhere. And these are really cheap, so they're actually saving us quite a bit of money. I do like the idea of putting plants like this one outside. Like I like the idea of making this whole space look really green. I just don't know if we can afford to make it fully green because Oasis Springs is a very dead world. It would be nice to add at least, you know, some kind of color to it in some way. Why can't, okay guys, I'm using move objects on, like, why can't I just place this bloody tree right here? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So yes, I am moving move objects on here, trying to keep it to all of the very cheap plants and things. But you know what? This painting in game is very cheap. It's a very cheap painting. It's very extravagant though. It also has no environment rating, I just realized, which kind of defeats the point. I really don't want to use this ugly plum bob picture, but like it's the only base game one I think we can use. It's the only one we can use. I'm sorry, I did try. We'd also like some curtains. I guess we could use blinds across the bigger windows, just like this. We don't really have any small, honestly, the thing that annoys me about blinds in The Sims 4 and curtains in general is they don't really have like an open version. Honestly, I really hope in Project Renee every single curtain and blind has an open version and a closed version. Fully open, fully closed. That would make my life. I feel like, oh, we're gonna have to get rid of them, aren't we? Okay, we'll keep them for now. I just don't really like having them all bare and empty. We could add a light switch in every single room and then that's an environment 1 rating. So at least every room in the house has a slight environment rating. So we're getting dangerously close to the budget now. This is where we're gonna have to scrimp a bit. So I'm gonna get rid of the 2 chairs here because as a base game starter build, it's only 1 bedroom, so you only need 2 chairs. I'm gonna have to get rid of most of these cabinets, even though I really don't want to get rid of them. We just have 3. That'll be nice. We're at 18,700 now. I wonder how much we'll save if we get rid of all of this fencing. 17. Okay, we've saved about 12,000 by getting rid of all of the fencing, but I feel like we really need it. Unless we try and be clever and outline the whole thing with a different kind of terrain paint, maybe something like that could work. I don't know. Or maybe we could just update all of this terrain paint to the gravel, because that way it looks more natural if it just kind of fades off into the distance, because that's how it would kind of happen in real life. Because over time, obviously, the gravel just kind of like fades into the ground. So using the eraser tool in the lowest opacity, we can just kind of morph it around a little bit and make it look a little bit more dusty. I guess this is a dusty lot, dusty, crusty starter home. So maybe we can have it like this, and then it's just like the gravel has faded. Another tip when you're using the eraser, actually, if you want to make it really realistic when you do the gravel typically tends to disappear on the lines where people walk through it. So I would actually maybe get rid of the gravel going into the house like this, and maybe coming off this other bit of staircase here, and then it looks more realistic as if somebody's actually trodden onto it, because that's genuinely what would happen in real life. So we've made it more realistic and we've saved some money. Would be nice to have like some plants. What on earth like grows in these worlds? Like the UK's all grass and countryside. This is so out of my depth. We're like, what things would grow in a deserty world like this? I just don't know. A cactus? I don't think I've ever seen a cactus in real life. Like, obviously I've seen the ones in pots, but not like a real one in the ground. I don't think I've ever seen a real cactus. Are we going for this kind of vibe? These kinds of things? Like, is this how cactus works? I don't know. So I'm just assuming this is how it would actually look in real life. This one looks like it belongs in a desert, so I'm assuming that it does. Like, do they just literally grow inside the sand? Is that how it works? If so, that's rather incredible. I'm pretty certain you wouldn't find any big wooden oak trees in Oasis Springs. Would you find a palm tree because it's like a desert world? I don't want to risk it because I don't know, and I don't want to mess it up and make it unrealistic. If it was my way, I'd put a big pink cherry tree, but it's not. So we're, oh my gosh, 18k. We've gone down so much money. That means we can afford random things like kitchen utensils, even though the Sims don't actually use them. And we can get some towels. Isn't that so lovely? Look at all this stuff we're getting. What I would like, can we get a stereo up in here? That would make me very happy. It is 150 simoleons, and I can't really like slot it in anywhere that can I just like put it up onto here and put it underneath there? I'm assuming it's still going to be functional if I put this thing down here. It should still be functional, right? And it seems to perfectly sit on here. It would be nice to have one more fun thing to do in the house. I honestly like the idea of having a telescope, you know? Maybe we could have it here. I feel like Oasis Springs is that kind of world. Like, it's not the same thing as The Sims 2 Strange Town, but it's the next best thing. So this will be something to boost your Sims logic skill with, which is good. We can even afford an art easel, you know, to go out here on the little decking area here, so your Sims can actually paint by reference and maybe paint the view. So I feel like this is a really great house to begin with, because we've got like a creative hobby object, we've got a logic hobby object. Your Sims can go fishing around the back of the house. We've got enough room to eventually afford to place a computer here. We've got the bed, we've got to wash, we've got a kitchen, we've literally got everything, and it's at 19,343. So your Sim should have just under 700 simoleons left, which I personally think is reasonable considering you're literally getting all of this stuff in your starter home. I would like to add a lot trait. I'm putting fast internet. I feel like Oasis Springs would have faster internet than Willow Creek, in my opinion, because it's a bit more modern. Although I don't know if any of these are base game compatible, these lot traits. I'm assuming they are. I'm going to add natural light because there's a lot of that here. And then home studio, because it does seem to be the place where you can do your painting and things. So that's always good. I personally think this renovation was relatively realistic, and I feel like we've got a lot of nice stuff in there. Well, we've got the bare bones and there's a lot of room to decorate and add more things, which is great. So I'll pop that on the gallery if you want to see it. You guys let me know which home you want me to renovate next from Oasis Springs and Willow Creek. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy the next one recommended here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.